On this week's episode, we talked about not your average barbecue. Like, what can you put on a grill or barbecue? Pretty much anything you want. So, in that vein, let's talk about fish. Not something we usually talk about when we're thinking about, grilling in the barbecue world. Let's just talk about what fish you want to buy. So when you have a whole fish about this size, you think this is about a one-person portion. And when we look at a fish and we want to perform the necessary freshness checks, the first thing that you do is you look at it and you take a whiff. If it smells like a fish, you don't want it. So your fish should smell like nothing, or it should smell like the ocean. Then you also look at the eyes, the whole eyes. They should be clear and bulging. If they are dry and sunken, it means that the fish might not be that fresh or hasn't been stored that well. You want to look at the tail and the fins, and they should be moist and pliable. Again, if they're dry and brittle, it means that they're old or that they haven't been stored well, which again, will make them smell like what they are. And then we know, oops, we don't want that one either. So we look at the gills. If your fish doesn't have any gills, don't sweat it. And then the last thing is you make an impression. So you look at it and you're like, hey, how you doing? No, it's really, you take your finger and just make a little impression. And if you see the flesh spring right back up, you know that that fish is fresh. So when we're talking about filleting a fish, you need to have a fillet knife that is very, very sharp. And you need to also know that the flesh of the fish is very, very delicate. So you have to own this and do it with confidence. So that means long, smooth strokes. The more you're like, you'll get little fluttery pieces of your fish in there, and you will definitely see it, and it will compromise the fillet. When we think about cutting anything, whether it's meat or whether it's fish, when we're taking things off the bones, use the bones as a guideline. So that's the roadmap of where you want to keep your knife. Keep your knife on the bone, and then that's where you want to take the fillet off the side of the fish. And then it's also, when I'm filleting fish, I am very careful to keep a nice even pressure on the fish and not dig my fingers into the fillet of the fish, because that will definitely leave a mark. You find the spine that's right down the middle of the fish, and we're gonna just take this guy right off. And you can feel all the little pin bones go like a zipper, kind of fun, like, and you can open that guy up and look, there you go. So I'm gonna trim this belly flap a little bit because this is full of bones and the flesh there is really thin. However you cook it, whether it's on a grill or in a saute pan, this little part will flutter off and burn. So it will become dry, so let's just ditch it. So there we go. That's one fillet. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And there we go. So you can also take a little pair of tweezers and go and get all the little pin bones in there as well. Then you have this beautiful skin on here to make nice and crispy, and you will have a beautiful succulent fillet on the inside of there. So if you feel comfortable doing this, look at, you have your fish bones to make if you want to make a fish stew or a fish stock or a fish soup, anything you like. If you have your fishmonger fillet your fish for you, ask for the bones. If you want to make a fish stew or something like that, they are going to weigh the fish first and charge you accordingly. So you're buying those bones. So if you want them, you bought them. Tune into BBQ Brawl for tips, tricks, and some kick-in barbecue.